Rock and roll.
Ready? You ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I'm just one of your hosts with the most, Clayton Kisco, the man with no fear. He's blind from a chemical explosion and now fights crime.
That's not true.
No?
It's not. It's not the Flash.
Your
It's not
friend,
the Flash.
Flash. That's the Daredevil.
Yeah.
Or Daredevil.
Negative 5
Whatever.
points for you, sir.
Whatever. I don't
And
care.
with us on this podcast today, we have the remote man, the man with no face. He's too hot to handle. The heartthrob, Rocco Avellino.
Is that robot or remote?
The remote man. Don Regato, Mr. Avellino.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Rock
Hi,
Pato.
I am Rocco.
Yes. He's remoting in from Skype.
That's very true.
So
You guys want to be able to see this beautiful face here? I'm gonna have to keep that away from you all.
How many more
Use it.
weeks
I know.
do we have of this remote stuff?
We have three more
more
weeks
weeks
left,
and
and then I'm good to go. Yes, sir.
Jerry, can you put a 3-week counter up for the next 3
Yeah.
episodes? Thank you.
Let's go, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry.
Get on that, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. We appreciate you. Jerry's lucky to have us. We're the number.
Jerry's lucky.
Yeah.
He is lucky.
To edit a top 5 podcast on iTunes. I mean, you put that on your resume, you could pretty much go anywhere and get any job. Last but not least, we have the Enigma. No, sorry, the artist formerly known as the Enigma, Perfect Pal Forever, the wild card, Ian Kane.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
I like how his nickname now is the wild card. Did he
Yeah.
pick that up? Did he choose that?
Yeah, he picked his own. He
No,
picked
you
his own
cannot.
nickname.
You cannot pick your own nickname. You
I know.
cannot.
I did.
I know.
It's not
You gotta
allowed.
We'll think of another one, but in the meantime, that's what we're rolling with.
So, how funny would it be though if the Flash was blind? Just went so
Just
fast
running
and just
into
smashed into things.
That would actually be hilarious.
He's just like, boom.
Bam! Smacks a wall every 5 seconds.
That's a fun game to play in the future. It's like, okay, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? But if you chose it, this is what would happen to you. Like if
This is the con side, okay? You
Yeah.
get super fast, but you're blind.
right,
Like,
you can fly, but every time you fly, someone you know dies.
yeah, exactly.
Just real morbid.
Or
So
it-
deep.
if you go flying, you cannot control your bladder and you piss the whole time.
You could fly, but you can only fly naked.
It's like you're raining on
that's good.
everybody.
Yeah, dude, I'm a little disappointed, Rocco. You need to get on that Daredevil train. You used to like Smallville so much. Like you used to love
Dude, I
it.
used to. I watched. I had every season of Smallville up to season. I think it was 10.
I'm
Like
starting to
10
think you like
seasons of
Smallville for the CW writing and not so much for the comic book
so.
aspect of it.
No.
Well, he was really Gilmore Girls too, so.
Oh, I loved Gilmore Girls.
You know they're remaking Gilmore Girls.
No, stop it.
I swear to God, it's on Netflix.
I'm just kidding. I didn't watch Gilmore Girls.
Oh, all right.
No,
Well,
no,
you know,
not.
who each their own. But yeah, dude,
To each
Supergirl
his
is awesome, and they have Superman on there, and he's great.
I like Supergirl. I like that so far. I saw a few episodes of that. And I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, man. So if you like that, you should check
on
out
Netflix.
Arrow and Flash. Those are also good shows.
God, that would be so hilarious though if they did like what we were just talking about with a TV show, like with Flash or something. Like, oh, he's blind.
They should do that for like an April Fool's episode.
Oh, that'd
like
be great.
because Mr. McPlixick or whatever, the little tiny dude that's like Superman's rival, he could totally do that because he's all like tricksy with magic. He can make all of them like blind, or every time Supergirl flies, like someone gets injured. Like that'd be really interesting. It'd be like a fun game come to life. It'd be awesome.
Yep.
If you guys didn't know, each and every week, the Maelstrom Gamers hop onto Skype, each bringing a topic for our discussion, but more importantly for your entertainment. And each one of those topics is its own separate video that we put on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Maelstrom channel, Monday through Friday. And each topic is rolled up into one giant episode on Saturday, so you can get everything for free on YouTube. If you'd like to support us with as little as $1, and you'd like to get all that stuff early, or some may say on time, go to patreon.com/MaelstromGamers and throw us a couple bucks, and it really helps support us. And now you're looking at Ian's mouth because Rocco left, and that's what happens when you try to put heads in a box. based on Skype's
Hey, Clay.
crazy. I wish I could just.
How are you?
I wish in Skype I could move you guys all around. That would make my life just infinitely easier.
Yeah.
My God.
And he's back.
And kind of, maybe we'll see.
So my mouth isn't like the center of attention anymore.
No, I immediately wanted to change that because I got scared, and I think everybody else watching is scared. The millions of people that watch the show daily and weekly. And the other thing is that if you don't have money, you can support us for free. You can go on a Facebook, you can go on a Twitter, comment, like, subscribe, follow, and share. A lot of people are doing that, and we really appreciate it. And join in on the discussion. We want to talk, hear your comments, and we're very diligent in getting back to everyone very quickly. And then lastly, if you like what you hear and you like what you're seeing, you can get more of us as we show off our mediocre gaming skills, as we're streaming games. I think we're moving from YouTube gaming back to Twitch. I think it's really in Steve's court. He mans a lot of that stuff now. That's his department. And so we are going to be streaming games non-stop. Usually it's League of Legends, a lot of Battlefield 1 right now. So, and if you go onto our YouTube page, you'll see a very funny video of Steve and Rocco playing Battlefield 1, just kind of going ham, having fun with the game. It's very, very entertaining. Rocco's trying to get back, so I'm going to add him.
Hey guys, I think my mouth is back. What if I had like a big old cold sore or something?
Oh God, that'd be terrible. Man, I'm completely thrown off by this distraction that Rocco has provided for us. I think that's
now he's three. He's three faces on mine now.
Yeah, I know. I panicked. I just added all of them, thinking one of them was going to join. So that's it. We stream games. The last thing is we want to play with you guys. We want to build a community. So if you
don't play with yourself,
don't play with yourself. That's go to hell for going and playing with yourself. Apparently, so play with us. We're on, like we said, League of Legends. We're on a little bit of Uncharted, Battlefield 1. A ton of our handles are in the bottom. I think we're gonna add some more because I think we don't have all the Steam ones. I think I have your PS4, but I don't think you have your Steam ones. So if you're on the computers, those crazy computers, we'll put those Steam ones on there.
Very cool.
All right, waiting for Rocco. He's still struggling, which is a shame because we plan to have two topics based around him being here. So,
we'll kick one off.
Yeah,
or we could just actually kick a different one off.
Yeah, that's a great. I think that's a great idea. Which one, Ian? Do you want to do? Yeah. Gosh, your mouth again.
Yeah.
What if we did reuniting with birth parents? Do you want to try that?
Sure. Did you?
Right. I don't. I'm completely thrown off. All right.
Okay, that's cool. Let's kick it off.
All right, Rocco, you son of a bitch.
Let's just talk shit about Rocco.
Let's just talk shit about Rocco for the next hour. So I had an idea for a topic that will be our first topic, which was based on the a couple recent travels that I've done and like people I've met in those travels, and it was weird. It was just a coincidence. Like I met like a couple people that were saying that they had just or were going to meet their birth parents for the very first time.
So they were adopted?
Yeah, so they were adopted, or they had to have been adopted, like either whether through foster care or whatever. Like, it was really interesting to hear their nervousness, and then it was really relieving to hear that they had a good time. Because, I mean, you can imagine you don't know who these people are. You don't know why they let you go. Was it for good reasons? Was it for bad reasons? You know, like, why did that happen? And so, God, and then having a kid now, it was just like, it was such a surreal experience to hear these people talk about, you know, going through the process of being like, okay, I think I'm ready. You know, some people are in their 40s and they're like, I think I'm ready to finally like
do it,
see these people, find these people, and then the process of finding them, going through like, you know, different documentations, trying to find like old, documents from the foster care people, and then, you know, I'm not sure how the process goes, but I think the people, if they give you up, I think they have a right to hide that information or not. But there's ways around it too, right? Like,
okay.
Rocco's here.
Hey.
I can hear you guys.
Hey.
All right.
Alrighty.
And I was just explaining to Ian, Rocco, that these people who are finding their birth parents, like they run that risk if these people are like gonna meet their expectations or be above it, right? Like I don't know if people have low expectations thinking about it, right? Like or what, like and then it's such a weird dynamic because then you talk to your foster parents a lot of times, right? From the stories I've listened to, like, what do they think about, maybe they even knew them, or like how they feel, because it's like, well, yeah, that's your birth parents, but like
I took care of you.
Yeah, I took care. I'm really your parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could ever beat that knowing. You know what I mean? I just think there's always something inside someone being like, yeah, no, I know, but like this is my blood, and that goes a long way, right? Like, and says a lot. So my question for you and I and potentially Rocco is, if you had the chance to find your birth parents,
Hola,
would
Rocco.
you?
Well, sorry guys. Does it make noise every time I join? By the way.
No, I think so,
I
but
think
like a little bloop,
Sorry.
bloop. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
fine. This first hour is we're all on a dumpster truck on fire.
Yeah,
It's totally fine. It's totally
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Good.
we got this.
Yeah,
We got
we're driving, man. We're fine.
We're not the best.
We're not the worst.
Well, we are entertaining.
Boom.
Boom.
See, 3-part piece right there.
We got it in there.
Worked out actually
That's
pretty
what-
well. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
This is where we start putting out that fire and drive that dump truck right into the damn bank.
Great. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So my question was, if you had the chance to meet your birth parents, would you?
Yeah, I would.
I-
And this is if I was adopted, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
I would definitely.
What
do it
other
because,
way
I mean,
would it be?
Yeah, I was thinking like,
Well,
Superman. Like, come
I
on.
mean, just because of like biological. I mean, there's something there with when it comes to like your biological parents. You know what I mean? To know
Right.
where you came from, like DNA wise.
Yeah.
You know, because there's some things that can be like nature, and there's some things that are nurture. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I definitely want to see my parents, my biological parents. Not saying that I'd be like, oh, mom, dad, I can't wait, I'm so happy. I just would want to know, just to know more scientifically, like, who are you? What are you about? Like, what kind of like, what do you have any cancers, any diabetes stuff,
Oh,
anything
right.
I got to worry about for my future? You know,
Right.
like, what do you got? You know,
Yeah.
but not as in like mommy and daddy. You know, I think I would respect the people that raised me so much at that point that I'd say
'Cause they really are.
those are my parents. You know, at
Yeah.
that point.
They're your
So,
real parents, and that's what Ian and I were talking about. And, like,
Right.
yeah.
You can't undermine that, but like I just I just don't know anyone who wouldn't want to really just and it's got to be tough, right? Like you got to be battling that with because I was saying like some of these people are 30, some of these people are 40, and they're like their whole life they're just not ready. They're not ready to really confront that yet.
Well, I was gonna say they're scared. I'm sure. I mean, they're
Right.
probably terrified.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
there's a lot of emotions going through that. I mean, think about that. You're like, okay, I don't know if they just gave me up because they didn't want me, or who knows what the situation was, and maybe the situation that they tell me I won't be happy with. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
true too.
reason why,
Yeah.
But I can only imagine. Me, granted, we were never in that situation. I think a close second would be almost having like a step parent.
Yeah.
But to sit there, I think I would. I think I would want to know and kind of.
Well, I have a step parent, and
Right.
he's been there since I was 6 years old. So I honestly feel like he's an adopted parent. He's my dad. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
raised me my entire life, and I love him love him so much, and I treat him like my father, and he is my father in my eyes. So it's like wasn't adopted, and I even had my real dad involved in my life.
Right.
But I still consider him to be more my father than my actual father, because he actually raised me.
Right.
Right.
You know, and was there pretty much every day of my life, was always there to support me and stuff too as well. So I think I would definitely, if I was an adopted kid, be, eager to meet my biological parents, but not in the sense of, wanting them to be my parents,
Yeah,
but just in wanting to know, just in the curiosity there. I wouldn't
Mhm.
let that fear of that experience of, is it going to be bad, or are they going to tell me what I don't want to hear, to stop me from doing it, where I think a lot of people allow that fear to stop them. I would do it out of the curiosity, just be like, you know what, who gives a shit about what they have to say about it? I just want to know who they are,
Right. Yeah.
and it might give
But-
you closure, because think
Yeah,
about
that
this,
too.
like, if you get to meet them and you're like, they're nothing that I thought, and you had this picture in my head, you're like, you know what? I'm glad I never fucking met them.
What if you
Yeah.
met? What if you met them and they were just like the biggest rednecks ever, just like chain smoking like crazy, drinking Keystone Lights out on the porch while you're walking up to go meet them, and they're fucking wasted. And you're
Or
just like, great, this is who I.
Or what if they were like really
them.
rich, but like really like obnoxious and
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
not
Oh, yeah.
nice? You know what I mean? You're like,
They were just
why,
like,
why
ew,
couldn't you
you're
take care
lower
of me?
class, you're a POS.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Come to the golf club and meet me. We're gonna
Meet
drink
you at
some
the-
champagne.
We'll meet you at the country club.
Yeah. Like, why couldn't you keep me? Like, that would, like, because that's not, like, there's a potential there that could open up a lot of wounds and a lot of things that you might have felt like you're done with, right? And you
Right.
realize they didn't have a good reason to keep you, you know, or to give you up, and you
you
have to
know-
live with that, and it's just like, damn, that hurts.
You know who would be a good one for this is what's her name we had on as a guest a while
Right.
back. We didn't record the video.
Oh, we recorded it.
I mean, not the video got recorded. The audio didn't get recorded.
Yes. Yes.
What was her name again, Ian?
Izzy.
Izzy, yeah.
Yep, Izzy was adopted. She would have been a good one for this because she was talking about that.
That's
how
right.
That was, you know, and yeah, I'd have to say, you know, not being there myself, not being an adopted child, you know, it's easy to say, hey, this is what I do. That is what I do, you know, because I
Yeah.
probably would have those wounds that are in there, like you're talking about, that could get opened up very easily and could, you know, probably have a major effect in your life, your
Yeah.
psyche. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
So,
and then you gotta
I mean-
think, you know, do you stay in contact with them at that point? Do you even care? Like, with
Yeah.
today's day and age, I mean, you're gonna be friends on Facebook, right? Like, that's crazy, right? But like, maybe not. Maybe that's not the best. Like,
What
Don't
do you
know.
feel like if you meet them and then like get their number? Do you feel guilty if you're hanging out with your parents that adopted you and you're like texting? them? You're like, you're cheating.
right. You're cheating on your parents.
Yeah,
with your real parents.
you know, that's a tough one to say, man. That's a whole
Yeah.
that's a big bag of mixed emotions that I
Right.
don't know what I would like. It's like I said, it's easy to say from outside, like, oh, that's exactly what I would do. But when I'm
Right,
there,
right,
I mean,
right.
I don't know, man. I really
Totally.
wouldn't, you know in there because like what Ian just said, that's actually a big point. Would you feel like you're cheating on your parents if you're going to see your actual biological parents? You know?
Yeah.
I
I
well,
think
how
I
would you
kind of
feel
would, and I
if
think
you
I
had
honestly-
adopted?
I think I
And-
kind of would. I feel like a little bit inside of me would feel like I'm doing something sort of wrong by meeting my biological parents, like, or at least upsetting my adopted parents in some way or another.
Well, you were contemplating adoption, Rocco. If you
I
had
still,
adopted a kid,
I still am contemplating adoption.
right?
yeah.
And so if you were to adopt a kid, and like, you know, 20 years from now, they're like, look, you know, mom, dad, I found.
I wouldn't. I don't think that I would care. As the parent side,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that I would care on the parent side because I would
Well-
say, all right, you know what? Absolutely, you want to go meet your parent? That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll
You
go
know,
with.
like, yeah, exactly. I'll go with you. We'll
If
do
you
it.
want.
Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
if you
right,
want me
right.
to. If not, that's fine too. You can do it by yourself. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I would probably encourage that if in the adoption it was put that they were willing to be
Right.
exposed to that later, because I know that they can choose whether they want to or
okay.
not.
I thought so.
Yeah.
All right.
I believe they can be completely anonymous, where you would have no clue who that parent is.
Yeah.
What if you come to find out like your mother or father is like someone extremely famous? That would be cool.
I mean,
Like George Clooney's my
Yeah,
dad.
I know, that'd be perfect. I feel like he's got a ton of illegitimate children.
I'm
Just all
sure
over the
I'm
place.
sure a lot of famous people do.
Yeah.
Honestly.
What if you find out that they have kids of their
Ooh.
own?
That happens actually.
That does happen. Yeah.
Oh.
That
Happens
I
often.
just think that would break my heart in some way.
Why'd you choose them and not me?
Yeah.
Ugly when you were born.
I
Especially
mean,
if
it
they feel
depends
like
on where you're at too, though. It depends on where you're at. So, like, if you were a 30-year-old man who had been adopted, right, and you were then looking at your parents, then I don't think that you would care so much about that. I think you'd be like, all right, it's probably they probably had me at a young
I don't know.
age, then they gave me up, and then they
Sure.
didn't want to do this, that, da da da. Be a parent. 10 years later, they decided to do it. Okay, that's more understandable. But if you were 18, hearing all that, you know.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a totally different boat for you.
I
You
don't-
probably would be immature in the sense of being like, you gave
probably-
me up, but you kept them?
Yeah.
Like,
probably
what the
leave like
fuck,
this.
you know?
Yeah. I think
that's
some part of me,
understandable,
if you're a 30-year-old, you know, man or woman or whatever, and you go and you see them and they have a whole perfect happy family, in some ways you're kind of like, damn, like,
Well,
sucks.
your adopted parents and you were like, holy crap, my life was amazing.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
like,
Yeah, you're not thinking
like
that
then you
well.
probably wouldn't be sitting there with resentment in any way.
Mhm.
But if you had a shitty ass life raised by your adopted parents and then you saw this family that looked amazing that did put you up for adoption,
Yeah.
yes, you probably would feel resentment no matter what age at that point.
Oh, of
you know,
course.
Yeah, that's a good point.
it's all I guess you'd say like situational.
That's tough.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, and if you think about it, like at the end of the day, you like the other side of the point is that the parents, you know, who gave them up have to go through this too. So like, how
Yeah.
do they feel? Like, do they
Mhm.
really want to meet you, or is this
Yeah.
kind of forced and stuff like that? So
Yeah, is that just gonna feel terrible on their end?
yeah.
God, yeah. What a crazy moment. In
Imagine to
someone's
be
life.
that parent. Okay, so imagine all of us, we had children, we had to end up giving because we were, I don't know, 17 years old and we just couldn't
Yeah.
do that in our lives at that time.
Yeah.
And then now, think about now, right? We're meeting our 15-year-old kid. You know what I mean? And they're like, hey, I just wanted to meet you. I just, you know, hey, how do you think you would feel?
Does he have a knife in his hand or no?
He or she. Oh, no. They just want to meet their parent. They just want to get to know who they are. And you're doing your own thing in life right now, right? You're married. We're all married. We have
Yeah.
we have relationships. We've got children. Some of us have children. Ian,
Yeah.
you don't have them yet, you know? How would you feel? You got families getting started and stuff. And then you got a 15-year-old kid coming in. Kind of, maybe they're not saying, I want to, you know, get involved in your life fully, but I do in a little bit, in a little sense, you know?
Just get real nervous and cut a wrestling promo? Look here, little brother. We had to give you up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then run away. I'd be like, wow. I can see why they gave me.
So mental illness is in my history.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Just leave it at that, and then he won't.
I think even as that parent, it's probably nerve-wracking too, because you're probably sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, you know, in some ways, I'm sure some parents would sit there and hope that this doesn't like mess up what they have going for them, you know?
Mhm.
And some would be fully, depending on probably their relationships and where they're at in life, would be fully accepting of that, of a new member into their family.
Yeah.
You know? I think that would all be situational too.
Yeah.
What if
but
they lived really close to you? I mean, some people
Like
were taking
your
flights, but like,
neighbors.
yeah, like what if they were just like in the same town?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so on that, this is some crazy shit. There's times when you get you know, not so much nowadays, but where children can get mixed up in the hospital, right? I heard a story of where pretty much this is like on this topic in a sense. 2 kids got mixed up in the hospital, and I think it was in the UK. And so they were essentially like adopted by these other people, not knowing they were adopted, actually thinking that they were their genuine kids. They get raised up and they're kind of like, wow, this kid's a little bit fairer skinned than our family is, because they're like Middle Eastern and this kid's white as shit.
Well, we're white,
and then
this baby's
then
black. We don't think it's our baby.
a darker skinned kid, right? So there are Muslims raising what would have been, you know, a Christian white girl, because that was her mother at that time. And her mother, who was a Christian white lady, was raising a would have been a Muslim child.
Oh, wow.
So they ended up meeting each other later on. They at like 14, they discovered this whole deal.
This is the plot of Sister Sister.
Not
and I
even
want you
kidding.
to
They
stop
discovered
it.
this whole deal.
Is it really?
It's practically.
They discovered
yeah.
this whole deal, and they didn't want to switch. They actually stayed in the same families, but they became somewhat friends, but not fully friends, because they actually like were judgmental of each other. Like these 2 kids were like, well, I don't really know her because her customs and her culture is really just
Yeah.
like not about what I'm about. So I don't really know. Like I don't even want to be a part of that family. It was kind of like I don't want to be a part of that family. Like, but they had
Yeah, what do you
this
switch
all
them
came
back?
around. This all came around because the Christian white lady had a divorce with her husband, and he always felt like she didn't look like him at all. They got a DNA test to find out that he wasn't the father, but also to find out that she wasn't the mother. So they did another one. Yeah. They did another one, which came back the same exact results, and that's when they discovered this whole issue that happened.
And they went on to Murray, and he was all like,
Yeah.
"You are not the parents."
And mother, how does that happen?
It was the UK version of Murray. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No, but how wild
Oh,
would
you
that have
are
been,
not
huh?
the mother.
Imagine if we had been swapped at birth with some other parents or some other family, not even known our whole lives.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, Rocco, we've talked about how you and I have been swapped.
Yes, we have been swapped.
Right.
We are brothers from another mothers.
Yeah.
That's the case.
Yeah. So we were twins.
Twins.
And
Yes,
no
twins.
one can deny it. Fully
I don't
identical
have hair.
twins.
He doesn't have hair. It's
Yeah,
how it works.
we both have beards and glasses.
Identical.
So Clay,
Identical.
We
you
met
would have
each
been
other.
my best friend growing up. That
Yeah,
would've-
I could have been. But this motherfucker took that path.
Yeah.
I took that path.
Instead of me.
Yes, exactly.
He went down to Florida and I went to New Jersey.
Yep. Yep.
Ridiculous. Last but not least, we have the Enigma. No, sorry, the artist formerly known as the Enigma, Perfect Pal Forever, the wild card, Ian Kane.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
I like how his nickname now is the wild card. Did he
Yeah.
pick that up? Did he choose that?
Yeah, he picked his own. He
No,
picked his
you
own
cannot.
nickname.
You cannot pick your own nickname. You
I know.
cannot.
I did.
I know.
It's not
We gotta
allowed.
We'll think of another one, but in the meantime, that's what we're rolling with.
So, how funny would it be though if the Flash was blind? Because he runs so
Just
fast
running
and just
into
smash into things.
That would actually be hilarious.
He's just like, boom.
Bam! Smacks a wall every 5 seconds.
That's a fun game to play in the future. It's like, okay, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? But if you chose it, this is what would happen to you. Like, if
This-
Girls too. So
Oh, I loved Gilmore Girls.
they're remaking Gilmore Girls.
No, stop it.
I swear to God, it's on Netflix.
I'm just kidding. I didn't watch Gilmore Girls.
Oh, all right.
no,
Well,
no, not.
who each their own. But yeah, dude,
To each
Supergirl
his
is awesome, and they have Superman on there, and he's great.
I like Supergirl. I like that so far. I saw a few episodes of that. And I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, man. So if you like that, you should check
on
out
Netflix.
Arrow and Flash. Those are also good shows.
God, that would be so hilarious though if they did like what we were just talking about with a TV show, like with Flash or something. Like, oh, he's blind.
They should do that for like an April Fool's episode.
Oh, that's
like,
great.
because Mr. McPlixick or whatever, the little tiny dude that's like.
Rock and roll.
Ready? You ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I'm just one of your hosts with the most, Clayton Kisko, the man with no fear. He's blind from a chemical explosion and now fights crime.
That's not true. It's
No?
not.
It's not?
It's not the Flash. It's
Your
not the
friend
Flash.
Flash. That's the Daredevil.
Yeah.
Or Daredevil.
Negative 5
Whatever.
points for you, sir.
Whatever. I don't
And
care.
with us on this podcast today, we have the remote man, the man with no face. He's too hot to handle. The heartthrob, Rocco Avellino.
Is that robot or remote?
The remote man. Don Regato, Mr. Avellino.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Rock
Hi,
Pato.
I am Rocco.
Yes, yes. He's remoting in from Skype.
That's very true.
So we're.
You guys
we're
want
looking
to be able to see this beautiful face here? I'm gonna have to keep that away from you all.
How many
He
more
was- I
weeks
know.
do we have of this remote stuff?
We have three more
more
weeks
weeks
left,
and
and then I'm good to go. Yes, sir.
Jerry, can you put a 3-week counter up for the next 3
Yeah.
episodes? Thank you.
Let's go, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry.
Get on that, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. We appreciate you. Jerry's lucky to have us. We're
He's-
the number.
Jerry's lucky.
Yeah.
He's lucky.
To edit a top 5 podcast on iTunes. I mean, you put that on your resume, you could pretty much go anywhere and get any job.
This is the con side, okay?
Yeah.
You get super fast, but you're blind.
Right.
Like,
You can fly, but every time you fly, someone you know dies.
yeah, exactly.
Just real morbid.
Or
So
it-
deep.
if you go flying, you cannot control your bladder, and you piss the whole time.
You could fly, but you can only fly naked.
It's like you're rain on
it's
everybody.
Yeah. Dude, I'm a little disappointed, Rocco. You need to get on that Daredevil train. You used to like Smallville so much. Like you used to love
Dude, I
it.
used to. I watched. I had every season of Smallville up to season. I think it was 10.
I'm
There's
starting
like
to
10
think you like
seasons of
Smallville for the CW writing and not so much for the comic book
so.
aspect of it.
No.
Well, he was
No.
really Gilmore Girls.